Bluff City Media presents the $2 Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Tuesday lunch edition of the $2 Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, as always, checking in from East Memphis on a beautiful, beautiful May day. I got my guy, Drew Gann, a.k.a. Uncle Buck, here with me today. Drew, we haven't really talked since last Tuesday's show, so I'm looking forward to catching up with you today, man. How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's not as pretty here in Northeast Mississippi, but it's not raining and it's not 1,000 degrees. So I'm just going to take it as a pretty good day here. So glad to be here with you. It's Tuesday, everybody's favorite day of the week. And we have not caught up at all, really, since last Tuesday. So got a lot to get to. We'll get to it on our first segment. It's our best of beef. It is our best of beef. This is the $2 Sports Show on Bluff City Media's YouTube page, on X, wherever you consume us. I will say, if you are watching this on X, I would like to officially invite you over to the YouTube page. That's where the comment section goes off. That's where all the cool kids hang out. King Meeks is already inviting us to the cookout in the YouTube comments.
Let's go.
So,
that might be my new best of the day, is getting invited to the cookout with King Meeks. And so we're live every Tuesday, Thursday on your lunch break on Bluff City Media's YouTube page. If we go to the cookout, there will be a live show from the cookout. You know how it is.
Oh, my goodness. Look at Wayno's profile picture.
Is that like a throwback picture of him? What is that?
That's me.
That's amazing. Oh, it's surviving the Allison days. Drew's emo rock star days.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, that's me. That's back when I was I had long-ish hair and a detective's hat that I like to wear. So one day I'll break out the old hats from my rock and roll days for you guys on the $2 Sports Show.
This is back when Drew was touring the country as a Meatloaf impersonator. That was his whole shtick. He was Meatloaf.
Pictures of all the pictures, that is in front of a Belk's department store sign. That's what that is. Belk dressed us. That's where the hat came from, the shirt, everything. Got a sponsorship deal from Belk. So,
hey, if they're looking to sponsor, I know a show.
There's nothing more Mississippi than a rock and roll band sponsored by Belk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But our best in beef of the week, it's Tuesday. We're going to recap our week. We're two best friends for over a decade, and we use our first segment on Tuesdays to talk about our weekends, and we boil it down to 2 points. Our best of the week and our biggest beef of the week. Rusty, I set them up. You knock them down. What's the best thing that happened to you since last Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has happened since last Tuesday, good, bad, but, Friday night, had a great date night with Maggie. We did a new brand of escape room where we escaped from a theater, which was fun. That was just a lot of different clues leading you to how to figure out if there's like paranormal activity in this play, this theater.
It seems pretty easy to escape from a theater. It's the only lights that you see when the movie's on is the red exit sign.
Well, the problem was there was a keypad lock on that door, so we couldn't get out. We had to figure out the other steps to get out, but we did.
This is easy. Let's try the door.
Yeah, we are Farm DPT is our team name. We remain undefeated in escape rooms, and then we had dinner at one of our favorite Memphis spots called Coastal. It's a seafood place on the Patriot Lake at Shelby Farms. Great atmosphere, beautifully decorated inside, great food. And then Saturday morning we hit up a couple of farmers markets in downtown and like Cooper Young area, which was a ton of fun. So it was just a good Memphis weekend leading up to my beef of the week, which I'll get to here in a minute.
That was very late 30s of you, Rusty, to have a nice seafood dinner and farmers markets the next day.
I mean, like, that's a win.
I love it. I love
Michael
it.
Scott's win, right?
My best of the week. I got to eat a lot of good food this week. You just reminded me. So I cooked my specialty at the house for my wife's family on, I guess that was Friday night. Did hibachi on the
I'll say Blackstone. Uncle Buck doesn't do much well, but his hibachi on the Blackstone is fire.
It was great. My mother-in-law showed up with some shrimp, so I got to do shrimp for the first. Did shrimp, chicken, fried rice, stir-fried veggies. I've done it a lot. This was the best. And then Saturday, we were supposed to have a ball tournament, got canceled, so we got invited to a friend's house where we were told, bring your own meat, and we'll throw it on the grill. And so we went, got a couple steaks, threw it on the grill Saturday, and then Sunday was Mother's Day, so I had burgers for lunch. And then Sunday night, my dad ordered Chicago-style deep dish pizza, which is my mom's favorite, from Lou Malnati's in Chicago, shipped down to the house. Andy. And so we had Lou Malnati's Sunday night. It was, if I was 200 before on Friday, I am 215 today. So, it was a good day. It was a good time. And, it's all centered around moms. And I always just get all soft and gushy when I think about my mom. So that's nice too. So, but what goes up must come down, Buckets. It must come down. And I'm just going to challenge you as we get to our biggest beef of the week. Let's not make this 30-minute long segment, okay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got plenty. There's a lot going on right now. Just burn out all the things. But I have a vicarious beef. Maggie had to work Sunday night. They're doing a remodel of her pharmacy, and so they have to move all the medication out so they can remodel the pharmacy she's in. And they put them in a literal box. It's in front of the pharmacy. That's where they slang prescriptions from, right? And so I had to drop her off Sunday night at 5 p.m. Her and a team of pharmacists moved the medication out, and then they put in an alarm system in the box to secure the medication. Well, the pharmacist stay there until the alarm is fixed, and they couldn't get it fixed. So I dropped her off Sunday night at 5 p.m. I picked her up a little after 8:30 Monday morning.
8:30.
Well, listen, that's a Mississippi coming out right there. 8:30, Jenny. 8:30 Monday morning, and she was just wiped out. Like, I've never seen a human more tired. And she said overnight she alternated walking laps around the box and stretching. And she watched Bluff City media shows. She finished She listened to podcasts. Like, she was everything she could to try and stay awake. God bless her. So I have a vicarious beef through Maggie with an overnight shift at the Walmart on Shelby Square.
Yeah, I've done plenty of overnights at my job now as a Power Ranger. They're always a little bit more action-packed than what you just described. My nights when I work all night, it's always fast-paced, and it sometimes feels like a couple hours. I don't stop. I guarantee hers felt like 2 days.
Oh, that's what she said. She said it felt like 7 days because, like, after 2 a.m., she was by herself from 2 a.m. to when I picked her up at 8:30. She was alone. Like, there was construction going on inside the store, but she was the only soul in that pharmacy. And I don't know how she did it. I truly don't know how she did it.
It's like, it's the 5th day of the week, and somehow it's only Tuesday.
I mean, that's it for her. She kept last night we were watching some TV and having dinner, and she just kept saying, "What day is it?" I'm like, "It's just Monday."
It is. Honey, it's the wrong question to ask on Monday.
It's just Monday. But thankfully she's off until Thursday, so she's got a couple days to recover.
Yeah. All right. My beef of the week. I got more car issues, but it's not something that's like super, like, keep us from driving the car. But it's a $1,500 fix, and it's costing me my cruise control. So that does stink.
That
because
sucks.
we drive a lot.
Oh,
but it is just shy of the line of where, like, I feel like I have to get it fixed. Like, it's just shy of that. But so I guess we're just gonna save for a minute and do without cruise control.
I had that. I went to Chicago, drove to Chicago, and I had a headlamp go out. And in most cars, when you have a light that's out, your cruise control won't work. It's kind of a trigger to let you know. And I had no cruise control on the way back from Chicago. It was awful.
Oh, that's a straight shot too. Like, oh, that's miserable.
Yeah. I'd look down, I'd be doing 95, and then I'd look down, I'd be doing 65. There was just no in between.
Yep. And I can tell when I'm sleepy because I look down, I'm going 40.
That's it. Exactly right. But that's our catching up. That's the best in beef of the week. Happens every Tuesday right here live on your lunch break. But that's enough time wasting for today, as it was once called in YouTube on a YouTube comment. We got plenty of basketball to talk about today.
Yeah. So thanks for bearing with us through our first segment where me and Rusty just talk like friends, because surprisingly we are.
Mm-hmm.
We
agree on literally nothing. We like the Grizzlies, and that's about it. We disagree on just about everything you can disagree on, and yet we're somehow friends.
Through thick and thick, as they say. So last night was a big night. We've obviously got NBA playoffs going on. We'll touch on that. But last night is the NBA draft lottery, and I absolutely adore the draft lottery. It's really fun when your team is in it, which is kind of like a weird thing to say because that means you didn't make the playoffs.
So it was a miserable season, but it's fun on lottery night.
Hope springs eternal starting at the draft lottery. Yeah. And boy, did it turn pessimistic for Uncle Buck quick.
Lord have mercy.
I do this thing when I'm watching the draft lottery, like I'm sure all of you do, is I'll have Tankathon up on my phone so I know the order in which this should go. So if a team gets skipped, they were one of the 4 teams that got picked by the lottery, meaning that they go up to the top 4. At the third pick announced, I'm like, please say Dallas. Nope. No Dallas. Dallas jumps all the way up to the 4 seed, to the 1 seed, or the number 1 pick, rather. San Antonio, number 2, Philly, number 3, and poor Charlotte at 4, and Utah at 5. Just awful.
It really was. We'll get to the top 4 here in a minute because I definitely got a lot of thoughts about that, as I'm sure our listeners and viewers do. If you're on X, hop on over to YouTube. Let us know your thoughts. While you're here, give us a like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on. But, Utah, they got fined for not playing Lauri Markkanen and still didn't get a top 4 pick. They were actively trying to lose, and they got the 5th pick. In your fantasy football draft, that's great because you're going to be picking consistently.
Right.
But the 5th pick, you're going to pick some Slovenian dude that we've never heard of who's going to spend his career in the G League or in NBA Europe. And so it just I like that they didn't necessarily reward the tanking, but I've got thoughts about the top 4 here in a minute. But that's the one that jumps out to me. Utah got fined for not playing Lauri when he was healthy, trying to get the first overall pick. And Adam Silver said, screw you, you get 5.
Yeah. I think that I love the fact that teams like Charlotte and Utah didn't win, and they haven't really recently. The exception of Cade Cunningham's draft, Detroit had the worst record, and they moved up. But
Detroit's always been historically a team that's been favored by the NBA.
Well, no. Detroit's a team that's never gotten a number 1 pick until Cade Cunningham.
I guess that's fair.
Always being trash.
I guess that's fair. That's fair.
And so they hit gold with that lottery to get Cade, and you saw how it's changed the franchise. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that it has not de-incentivized tanking, because you still see tanking prevalent in the NBA, but the reward is not paying off. If you told Utah right now, hey, you've got the tied for the first best odds at the number 1 pick in the draft, so you're going to tank a whole season and get the number 5, chances are next time you're just going to play a little harder. You're not going to risk a $250,000 fine to sit Lauri Markkanen when he's totally healthy. I hope that's what happens, but I don't think it actually will.
No, because what makes me mad is the Blazers. The Blazers got the 11th pick, but of all these teams on this list, the Blazers tried to win basketball games. They were well within the top 4 best odds around the halfway All-Star break point, and then just played great basketball down the stretch. They tried, they hustled, and to me, that should be rewarded.
The same story is the reason why of the East teams, I'd have been totally happy with Chicago getting the number 1 seed.
Yeah, because they tried. They made the plans. They tried. They hustled. They played good basketball.
Right.
Edward Hayes, who's ill subliminal on Twitter, popped in our comments this morning on the Daily Grind and said that they should do, as much as Adam Silver loves tournaments, they need to do a play-in tournament or a tournament, play-out tournament. You get the bottom 4 seeds. Winner gets the first pick. Second place, second, third, and fourth, and so on. That makes it competitive, gives them something to play for. B, it doesn't reward tanking as much. Yes, you're a bad team, but then you go beat the other bad teams for a shot at Cooper Flagg. But Adam Silver would never leave something up to chance like that maybe Washington or Charlotte would get hot and win the tournament. And then you've got the next generational talent, a Wemby or Cooper Flagg, buried in Charlotte or Washington, where literally nobody cares about those teams.
All right, listen. Worst case scenario outside of Dallas winning was our Great White Hope going to Washington. Okay, like that would have just been the worst. Okay, we can agree on that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's just get to it because the outrage.
You knew it was going to happen.
All this was everybody. There was a mob that said, "This is rigged."
Mm-hmm.
Rusty, was it?
Yes. If you don't think that Adam Silver told Nico Harrison, listen, if you trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers to help us with ratings and get some attention back, we will give you the first overall pick that you can either draft Cooper Flagg or trade it for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I got oceanfront property on Lamar Avenue here in Memphis that I want to sell you because it's the ultimate rig job. I told Maggie, we're sitting on her couch last night watching this. They said, all right, your top 4 picks. I said, watch this. I said 4 Hornets. They announced Hornets. 3 Sixers. They announced it. 2 Spurs. They announced it. Mav getting the pick. They announced it. She goes, you just Rain Man that thing. I said, nah, it's just that rig.
I'm not Rain Man. I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You knew exactly what was going to happen. Adam Silver absolutely predestined this way back at the trade deadline that Nico Harrison, even though they're at a 1.8% chance to get the first overall pick, we're absolutely getting that.
All right. My turn. The evidence, I'm sorry. The evidence to make the claim that this is rigged is there. You've got Anthony Davis getting traded, New Orleans getting the number 1 pick. You've got
Chris Paul, New Orleans
Chris
got
Paul
the
getting traded. Yeah,
the
whole
Cavs
thing.
And LeBron, the whole thing.
The problem with it is absolutely impossible that this was rigged. It is just it is videoed, Rusty. It is just it is obvious bad luck, but you cannot convince me that there was actually a way to rig this. There are 1,000 combinations in which 14 teams are given X number of combinations and 4 balls are drawn out.
Hey, I got a question.
There's just no possible way.
Okay. All right. Have you ever been to a casino?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Have you ever played like Plinko or any of those things where the balls drop?
I mean, that's Price is Right, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a game in most casinos. It's called Plinko, and it's Plinko or Bunko or whatever they want to call it. Plinko is from the Price is Right where the balls drop.
No.
Same thing. There's game shows that do that, all that kind of stuff. You can absolutely rig that.
There's no way.
Through weights,
it's
through
not.
Magnets, through things that you can absolutely make it happen.
And
hang on, here's why.
Happen.
Here's why.
I'm just you can say your casino theory and how the casino is always going to win, and I'll give you that. This isn't a casino, and this isn't. So
you're telling me that a NBA that an NBA commissioner who stands a chance to make billions of dollars in revenue.
What will he lose if he gets busted? The NBA would fold if this ever came out. Like it's impossible.
Not just for the lottery. And there's you can absolutely make this happen because it's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry, and they cannot afford.
Be a multi-billion-dollar loss.
There's a perfectly good reason for this guy to not go to some of these small markets because he gets buried and you don't get the shoe revenue or the Chinese money coming in or the overseas viewership or whatever that comes with that. I don't care how good Victor and Cooper Flagg are. If they go to the Wizards, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care.
So went to the Spurs. The Spurs. What brand is the Spurs?
Are you kidding?
What brand is the Spurs? No,
they've got Argentina. They've got France. They've got multiple NBA championships. They have the greatest coach in the NBA history in Greg Popovich. There's no. Are you kidding me?
The NBA doesn't care about that. The Spurs are doing nothing for ratings. Nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah, now that Pop is gone,
San Antonio. No,
but no, they were one of them.
They were awful.
They're one of the premier franchises.
There is no way that the NBA rigged. anything to go in San Antonio's favor.
You're
just
drunk,
not.
bro.
And
like,
if
absolutely.
You want, but
they're
Rusty,
the biggest
you don't
small market brand.
No, but what you fail to get is how everything is on video. There is a representative and a reporter from every single team in there. And this has been doing this since the late 80s. Like, there is no possible way that you could do this without an absolute stink being done. Every team that gets screwed would have to be complicit. And there is no way that they just take this sitting down. And if it ever came out that they rigged the NBA draft lottery in which a generational prospect was given to a team, think of the absolute egg on the face that the whole league would do. You would lose sponsors. This is gambled on.
No, they
like,
wouldn't.
This is a gambled on entity. Like, 0% you're talking about Rico. I mean, this is stupid. Like, there is no possible way.
So, Drew, while I got you here, then
are there. No, let me finish. Everything is there. Everything you can point to, like, oh, this is evidence of it being rigged. But you cannot point to any actual evidence that it is rigged. It is all just like
it's a multi-billion-dollar industry where they can hide it. It's 2025. There's AI. You could go back to 98 to 85. You can but you can go back to 98. You can go back to the Orlando back-to-back. You can go back to Jordan. Again, you can go back to Derrick Rose. Let me finish that gum. Like, I let you finish. Let me talk. Lord have mercy. You can go back to the Derrick Rose draft in 2006. Drew, if you think that the NBA cannot get away with this, then we probably need to talk about the tooth fairy and the fact that you think the government's coming to rescue you, because we can absolutely get away with this thing behind closed door. You absolutely can get away with it because they're doing a great cover-up job. That's the best part of conspiracy theories.
All right, let me put it to you this way.
They're just provable enough.
Let me put it to you this way.
I can't even finish a thought.
Let me put it to this. The year that LeBron James was the number one NBA draft prospect, was going to go in the draft, the Memphis Grizzlies had the best odds to win the lottery. If he was given and rigged in favor of Cleveland Cavaliers so that LeBron could go home, the Memphis Grizzlies, with any shred of proof, would burn the NBA to the ground. Like, there's just never been any actual proof because it's on video. Like, you keep talking about, like, this could happen. There's never been a shred of evidence. Not even one bit. Like, this is, like you said, multi-billion-dollar business. If one multi-million-dollar owner of a NBA franchise feels gypped, they will burn this to the ground. And it's never happened. It's never happened. So you've got the motive, but there is no proof.
I mean,
if you can provide it.
I've tried to talk to you about it, but I keep getting interrupted, so I can't finish thoughts, so we can move on. But like, there's video evidence of Bigfoot. There's all these things out there that can be manipulated. Bro, there are ways that they can absolutely do this. I'm not saying that 100% that it is, but I think the evidence and things directly point to a series of tomfoolery dating back to the early days of the NBA draft lottery. And again, like, the evidence is out there. You can decide what you want.
No, there's not. No, there's not. There is just players.
There's no smoking gun. There's not a smoking gun, but the evidence, bro, like LeBron going to Cleveland, Derrick Rose going to Chicago. Like, there is absolutely circumstantial evidence out there.
I'm banging the gavel. If you're telling me that there's nothing you can point to other than like
there is circumstantial evidence. Like, it's enough to be proved in court. I would guarantee it. So let us know what you think in the comments.
No chance.
I'm going to post a poll. Let us know. Do you think the NBA lottery is rigged? I'm done arguing with this fool. He can't even see over the dashboard to see my point. So I am done with that. But the Dallas Mavericks now have the first overall pick. Drew Gann, what does that look like to you? If you're Nico Harrison, you're sitting in his seat, do you take a chance on Cooper Flagg? Or do you try and package that to go get a superstar, say Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's come out this week and said he's willing to test the trade waters and is interested in a state with no state income tax, where Dallas is in Texas? So do you take the pick on Cooper Flagg or trade it for Giannis Antetokounmpo?
It's hard to say what Nico's going to do because, as we can tell, he doesn't do what anybody actually expects him to do. But you have mortgaged the future of this team, the 10-year future for the 5-year future by trading away Luka to get Anthony Davis. So to me, this is like the perfect option to give you your 10 to 15-year future back by just holding on to the pick and taking Cooper Flagg. Yes, Giannis is like the biggest bird in the hand argument you can make. Like, the dude is never bad. He's always amazing, and he's always healthy. Like, it's almost a no-brainer for any situation. But you have sacrificed your 10-year future for an injured 5-year, possible 3-year window of, if healthy, competing for a national NBA championship. I think you've got to take Cooper Flagg to give you the longevity at this point.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Cooper Flagg has obviously a longer runway. His game is a bit more complete. It's known that Giannis can't shoot super well, but that doesn't matter because he dunks on everybody. He's one of the best defenders on the planet. And so I think Giannis makes you better in the 4 to 6 year window. Cooper Flagg has got double-digit runway potential here. The deck is stacked in their favor to do either, though, because of the Luka Doncic trade, where they didn't really send much at all. They still have a plethora of assets, young players that they could trade. And so it's clearly the runway is there if they want to go get Giannis. Whether that was orchestrated or not, that's up to you to decide. But there is clearly a path there. It's just, what do the Mavericks think about Cooper Flagg? Do they truly think that he is the great white hype, as you said earlier? People are comparing him to LeBron James, saying he's the best freshman basketball player we've ever seen in college basketball. The potential is there, but potential is a very scary word. I don't know that Dallas is going to take a risk on more potential. I tend to lean a little bit more. Maybe they're going to try and trade for Giannis, but I think Cooper Flagg is your best option for a long-term, sustainable, winning basketball team, especially with AD being made of paper mache and how much Kyrie's got left in the tank after his latest injury. We don't even really truly know.
No, I would roll it with Cooper Flagg. I think it sucks that they just didn't earn the number 1 pick. Like, it's just like, I like it when teams that try win. I mean, we went on a long diatribe about how we would have been okay with Chicago or Portland getting the number 1 pick because they didn't actively tank. Well, neither did Dallas. But you know what? They didn't. They screwed themselves. They put themselves in this position. It's just not right that they got the number 1 pick and that they have these options to choose from. You know, ultimately, I think with Giannis, I would put the money, like 60% of me says that Giannis just goes back to Milwaukee anyways, because if he's talked about one thing, he's just talked about loyalty throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
But if I were Nico Harrison, I still think I would just take Cooper Flagg, because you've almost got to re-energize a fan base that thought that they had a window of like 10 to 15 years with Luka that they don't have anymore.
And Giannis is still young enough that they can still have a pretty big window. But Wayno's right here. Like, sometimes making the obvious superstar trade blows up in your face. I mean, look at what Phoenix has done, right? They were a piece away, and then now they've got Bradley Beal and egg on their face, and it just hasn't worked out like they thought it was going to. I think that Cooper Flagg feels like a slam dunk at the first overall pick, but nothing's guaranteed. You know, he may not fit the system. He may not be the great player. You know, God forbid, we've seen it happen with Derrick Rose, but crazy things happen that derail careers. I just think Cooper Flagg is the easy pick. Don't overthink it. Don't try and wreck your franchise, because you add Cooper Flagg to a starting lineup that has, you know, you got Gafford you can throw in there, Lively, you got AD, you got Klay Thompson, Kyrie when he comes back healthy. Like, that's a pretty formidable lineup. You're going to lose a lot of that if you go get Giannis, because it's going to take the first overall pick, likely Gafford and or Lively. Like, a lot of pieces you're going to have to give up.
Yeah.
And then you just, like you've said on this show before, talking about these teams, you don't want to mortgage the future for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years to go get that one player.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. I think you've got to go youth. I think you got to go youth, which makes who won the 2nd pick in the draft probably more likely to trade for Giannis to me than Dallas. And that's the San Antonio Spurs.
Great segue. That's the next thing I was going to talk about, is that the other destination that keeps coming up for Giannis is the San Antonio Spurs, who math is not a problem for them. They have a bazillion picks over the next few years, including 2 in the top 15 in this June's draft, the 2nd overall and the 14th overall, or 13th, 14th, 13th, somewhere right in there.
something.
It doesn't matter. They've got 2 top 15 picks this year. They own all their first for the foreseeable future. They've got some young assets that they can pair together and go get Giannis to pair him alongside Wemby and De'Aaron Fox for the foreseeable future. Drew, I don't know which scenario to me is more nightmare fuel. Giannis in Dallas or Giannis in San Antonio, because we're going to play those teams 4 times a year. San Antonio's already getting better. If they can work it to where they keep Stephon Castle, like that would be an incredible lineup.
Yeah. There's no way they're keeping Stephon Castle, because if you're Milwaukee, you're asking for everything.
Absolutely everything.
Picks, players, everything. It'll be the largest haul in NBA history.
Yeah, you'll get rights to the USFL team, what are the San Antonio Renegades or whatever they are. They'll own the Riverwalk. They'll rename it the Milwaukee Riverwalk. Like
this is the Milwaukee Alamo. There's no way that happens. But nightmare fuel, talking about, I would honestly think like I said, in the short term, it's scary in Dallas because you've got Kyrie and AD. But just like we've already said, that window is much shorter, and Giannis is going to outlast both of them. It's much scarier for the next 10 years for him to go play alongside Wemby. I mean, it's just
long,
you're
athletic.
Talking about like the only teams that would even have a chance at beating them are teams like Boston, who just refuse to shoot shots in the paint anyways, because you're not going to get a layup or a dunk ever.
They're averaging 46 3-point attempts in the NBA playoffs, which is just wild. Well, there were times where, 10, 15 years ago where teams wouldn't combine for 46 threes, and now we've got a team shooting that. But yeah, like now you've got not only that, but you've got 2 lob threats for De'Aaron Fox, who's one of the better young point guards in the game. Like, do you throw it to the 7-foot forever freak Wemby or Giannis, who's jumping from the 3-point line to go catch it? Like, it's just, and then the defensive side, like, it's stupid.
You've got 2 options. You can either be bulldozed by Giannis, or you can have the alien with 8'11" wingspan just reach over you, Michael Jordan in Space Jam style. Like, it would be absolutely atrocious either way. And it's just the worst case scenario for the Memphis Grizzlies. And it just puts an even brighter light on Zach Kleiman, because if you got anything from this playoff experience that the Grizzlies had in a 4-game sweep against the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's like, you're not even close. Well, guess what? 2 other teams that you thought were peers have the real possibility of lapping you and it all happened in a 30-minute episode of TV on ESPN last night. Like,
like right now we're probably in shouting distance of some of our competition, but if that happens, we're not even in shooting distance of our competition, because like you put Giannis beside either one of those guys and then we don't make a move on top of that, like at that point, it is GM malpractice, and we are clearly not serious about competing in the Western Conference.
And the thing is, you've got OKC, you've got Denver, you've got Minnesota's core, you've got San Antonio with Wemby and the number 2 pick, you've got Dallas with AD and Kyrie and the number 1 pick. Like, I don't know what there is to do. Like, what move around the fringes can the Grizzlies do to make you feel confident going into the next season? We just keep talking. For me, it's like, I want to keep the core 3 and build around with vets. Like, if you do that, do you feel confident going up against best case scenario Dallas and San Antonio, and then add in, just run of the mill Oklahoma City?
Right. Like, I think the only move that we can make there that make me feel better is a petition for an early release to the Eastern Conference before we expand to 32 teams.
Oh,
like, I think that's the only thing, because at that point,
doubt.
like at that point, like give me Atlanta and Orlando and Philly. Like, I want nothing to do with that, because that little triangle there of Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Dallas. Don't forget Houston's down there is also up and coming with some young talent. Drew, it does beg the question, though, while we're talking about the Grizzlies, like the Grizzlies, there is a path for the Grizzlies to go get Giannis. He's a trendy thing on Twitter. Oh, here's a package for Giannis. Most of them include Bane and Jaren. It's going to take both of them, which kind of begs the question. We are moving, I think, my thoughts are we're kind of moving away from the big 3, and you're looking for like a 2 superstar, because the new CBA is going to make it that way, right? It's going to be hard to pay 3 max contracts without going into the aprons that the teams clearly want nothing to do with. So then that's my question. Like, the obvious package is Bane and Jaren for Giannis with a ton of picks. Throw GG in there. That's the obvious one. And I feel like most everybody would say a tentative yes to that, to pair up Giannis and Ja.
I would drive to Memphis and help them pack. Like,
yeah,
there's no question at all. Like,
but
the only one that I would hesitate over is Jaren, and you're just getting super Jaren with Giannis. Like,
that's it. And I love Jaren. Like, Jaren is my boy. He's my favorite player. I'm going to have a signed jersey hung up here pretty soon behind me. I love Jaren. But I think I would go to the farewell party. But then the question is, what if Milwaukee says, look, we don't want Desmond Bane. We want Ja and Jaren. Ja is the franchise. Ja is a superstar, but it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Do you still consider that trade if you have to move off of Ja? Because I know, like, some people are very, very against it. Ja's got to stay. But moving Ja for Giannis, given Ja's injury history and that, would you even entertain it?
Ja and Jaren?
Ja, let's say it's Ja and Jaren or Ja and Dez. Like, say Ja has to be in the package. Is there a package that you would move Ja for Giannis?
Well, let's play it out. Let's say Ja and Dez. Because I think most people would say no to Ja and Jaren. So let's just play it out both ways with Ja and Dez. If that leaves you with Scottie Pippen Jr., your starting point guard, a lot of work, an incomplete team, but you're going to build around Jaren and Giannis. Are those two pieces capable of being the two best players on a title team, given help around them? I think yes. I do. They're kind of redundant. That was going to be
my point. Yeah, I agree. They're kind of redundant. But one thing, Drew, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the one thing that they do offer is consistency. Look out over the last 3 or 4 years. Those two cats have been some of the healthiest dudes in the NBA, right? And so a player's best ability is availability. What if you can replace an inconsistent Ja? And I love Ja. Ja's right here over my shoulder, like right over there. Love Ja Morant. What if you can replace an inconsistent Ja with a consistent Giannis that can help unlock Jaren?
Yeah. It's almost like you would have to guarantee me what the other spots would be.
Yeah.
Like if you could tell me you trade Ja and Dez and then in free agency or in a trade, you can land a serviceable point guard just for Grizzlies' sake, say Tyus Jones. You got Tyus Jones. You've got at the 1, you've got Jaren and Giannis at the 4 or 5. That's somebody that can start the table. You know, I mean, it's something you can work with. I don't think it's anything like Ja and Jaren and then you get back Giannis. I don't know. That's almost too barren. I mean, that's asking Giannis to do it by himself in a Western Conference in which we go on and on about how tough and deep it is.
And I don't think Giannis is going to come to Memphis because he has to approve this trade. He's got a no trade clause that he would have to waive. I don't know that Giannis is going to look at that and go, yeah, me and Desmond Bane can take this team to the next step, right? Desmond and I can get this team over Oklahoma City. If I'm Giannis, I'm saying one of Ja and or Jaren have to be there. Like, one of those guys have to be there because those are the two guys that can play. I love Jaren to death, but if I'm Giannis and I'm the Grizzlies, I think you pair up Ja and Giannis simply because Jaren and Giannis are a little bit more redundant. I think you can build around Ja, Giannis, Edie at the 5. So you got Jalen coming in and out at the 3, but you go get a guy who can shoot and a vet wing. Maybe that's a Herb Jones if you got enough left in the cupboard. Maybe that's signing some guys to some MLEs that we've literally never used, some trade exemptions that we've never used.
Re-sign Santi, But we're talking way down the line here. But as the thought exercise goes, nothing would get me hot and bothered quite like a pairing of Giannis and Ja. Like, if you could take pretty much anything that you want at that point, just leave me Giannis and Ja. Because I also do believe that Giannis is one of those guys that's about that action, boss, to quote the great American poet Marshawn Lynch. He's about that action and all this slacking, and he's going to play. He's going to play on back-to-backs. He's going to play through being hurt every once in a while. Like, I trust Giannis. I would trust Giannis infinitely.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, very dependable, very reliable superstar. Like you said, he's never like bad. I mean, he's always getting you 25, 30 points, 10, 11 rebounds. He's an incredible athlete. And what Ja has developed over the last couple of years as a passer and a facilitator, that's going to be almost impossible to stop. A pick and roll game, pick and pop game, above the ring, 2-man game of Ja and Giannis. That's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be so fascinating to see how the money works, because obviously Giannis makes probably $50 million a year. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But so does Dez. And if you're going to need Dez and Jaren, then Milwaukee's going to have to get off that Lillard contract. And Lillard just popped an Achilles, right? I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so who's going to take that? Is he going to be forced into a Giannis trade so that they can kind of two birds with one? They have all the leverage. You want Giannis, you have to take Lillard kind of thing. So if that's the case, talk about a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, because then you're looking at a full clean slate reboot in Milwaukee, and whatever team you've got going to, those are two big contracts that you got to take.
Yeah. So that's interesting. There's going to be a lot of talk. The NBA draft is June the 25th. I would expect if a Giannis trade happens, it happens, especially if it's going to involve a first-round pick. It's going to happen before the draft happens, because once players are assigned to the pick, you have to like the player. The options are unlimited when it's just the number 2 pick. But if that number 2 pick becomes Dylan Harper, then maybe Milwaukee doesn't like Dylan Harper. Maybe
they like Ace Bailey or whoever else is in there, right? Agreed. It's going to be an interesting month run up to the draft. Uncle Buck and I will argue about it plenty more times between now and then. Before we move completely off the lottery, Drew, did you breaking news? It happened
Sorry, I was anticipating incorrectly, I guess.
Breaking news, 40 minutes ago, it was announced that the Portland Trailblazers are up for sale. We don't see this happen super, super often. Every now and then, Boston just got sold, other teams are getting sold, but the Trailblazers, it has commenced a formal sale process for the Trailblazers franchise, consistent with Paul G. Allen's directive to eventually sell his sports holdings.
He died, right? He died. So
his estate is selling off his portion. This news does not affect the Seattle Seahawks franchise or the estate's 25% interest in Seattle Sounders, and neither is for sale. But it looks like they're trying to move off of Portland. Some of the comments are saying that maybe this is a way for the estate to set up a way for the Seattle Supersonics to come back to Seattle, because he's got all this vested interest in the city of Seattle. Maybe this is how the Supersonics come back. But it's just interesting timing, as it was announced this week that they're going to reopen those conversations this summer about expansion, that the Trailblazers are now up for sale.
I mean, you would be absolutely foolish. I mean, in the last 2 years, you've seen Phoenix draw, $6 billion, and Boston just got sold for billions of dollars.
Billions.
If you can sell, and you're not passionate to be the owner of the Portland Trailblazers, buddy, get that bag. And especially if you could parlay that into a grassroots purchase of a brand new team at bottom at ground floor,
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. If Uncle Buck and I had billions of dollars of liquid cash laying around, we would be probably the future owners of the Portland Trailblazers, and y'all have a whole different audience here.
Oh, yeah. $2 Sports Show would be the biggest Portland Trailblazers show ever if we had roughly $6 billion to invest in buying our own sports team.
But I can promise you, if we had $6 billion laying around, neither of us would have day jobs. We'd be doing this show live and in person, and those heated arguments would be even more fun. Absolutely. We've talked about this. If you go back to the OG show, we did an episode where we drafted what you would buy with the lottery, and we got upset that I think you picked sports team, and I got upset that I didn't get it, because that's the clear number one thing that we would purchase with floor seats at every game, much like Mark Cuban.
I mean, I own the arena, so
yeah.
Just go 100%. Put a piece of tape with my name on it. That's my seat.
Well, we've talked about basketball plenty. There's NBA playoffs going on. Uncle Buck and I, we've seen it across all the networks. To me, Drew, the one thing I want to talk about is Jason Tatum got hurt last night. Achilles. That's a bummer that he's likely done for the year. So it might, and next year as well.
Is it a bummer? Listen, I'm trying to be a good person here, but I'm just such a hater. And I've never been a fan of Jason Tatum's. Just I feel like he's boring and everything, and he's kind of fake. So like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, it ruined my night." I didn't root for the injury by any means, but it's just kind of. I'm not the guy that's over here like weeping in the corner because Jason Tatum.
Same, but I don't like seeing people get hurt. I want to see the best teams at their best competing because we've had some great NBA playoff games, including the Knicks Celtics series. But Drew, we've got 4 games going. We got 4 series. We got the Nuggets and the Thunder, which are 2-2, and the others are 3-1. Indiana's up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Minnesota's up 3-1 on the Warriors, and now the Knicks are up 3-1 on the Celtics. Of those 3, which team that is down 3-1 is the most likely to come back and win their series?
I would have to say Cleveland, because unless you can guarantee me that Steph Curry's coming back for the next game, then I don't put a lot of stock in Golden State. And Jason Tatum just popped his Achilles. I wouldn't bat an eye thinking that Boston could come back from 3-1 if Jason Tatum was healthy, but I don't put any stock in it at all now. And so I think the only one that has a chance is Cleveland, but that's only because Cleveland right now is the only one of those 3 options that are healthy.
Are they though? Because Donovan Mitchell left ankle took him out of the second half of that Pacers game.
He quit.
And that's what I told y'all in the group chat. I said that he quit. He did.
He just went home.
I mean,
immediately they were like, MRI tomorrow, but he'll be fine for the next game. It's like, okay.
So for me, I tend to agree simply because of the like you said, the health and talent that's left. I think Minnesota of the 3 teams, or excuse me, the Knicks of the 3 teams are the most likely to collapse because they just play so many minutes with their 6 guys that I could see those dudes run out of gas. But at the same time, no Jason Tatum. I don't know that they're coming back. But is it Adam Silver's worst nightmare if Minnesota somehow gets to the finals and faces the Indiana Pacers? You talk about 2 small markets that nobody cares about outside of their local viewing area. It would literally be like the 2 smallest markets to ever play for a title, I would say. You got Minnesota and you got the Pacers. Is that Adam Silver's worst nightmare?
I mean, if he was really in the rigging business, don't you think he'd rig this? I'm sorry. No, I said I wanted Brunson's Achilles, not Tatum's. You idiot.
I do think the draft is a bit easier to rig than games, but we've had that conversation. I just think that like he is shaking in the corner being like, oh my God, this can't happen. This can't happen. I need the Thunder. Like I have
no sympathy for anybody who thinks that that cares whether ratings are going to hit or not. I care about quality of basketball, and I could care less if it's in a big market or not. I hope that Adam Silver has the same viewpoint, although Adam Silver is the worst. So who knows? But I don't really care. I want good basketball. And honestly, throughout the whole playoffs, I've enjoyed watching the Indiana Pacers more than anybody. So absolutely. I don't care.
I hope they make it. I'm rooting hard for the Pacers at this point. The Grizzlies are out. It doesn't matter. It's anybody but Oklahoma City and the Warriors. I'm all in on the Pacers. They're fun to watch. Controversial hot take.
Go Pacers.
Controversial hot take. I like their city edition uniforms they're still wearing with the like the spray paint and the like 90s themed colors. I like them. I think they look good, but they're just like Miles Turner is hitting logo threes. Pascal Siakam's getting every rebound, and like Hallie gives you a good game every other game. So they're just fun to watch right now. And plus, it's heated between DeAndre Hunter and Mathurin, and it's like it's a chippy series. I don't know. The Pacers are just fun right now.
Yeah, I'm 100% on with I like the Pacers. I don't really care about a worst case scenario for ratings because ratings will stink. Let's be honest. But that's because people in New York you lose interest in New York and California. Right. Like that's nothing to do with the quality of basketball.
No, for whose heads like us, I want Indiana there. I think they're a great team to watch, and I'd love to see them play Oklahoma City or Minnesota, or whoever it ends up being. I think it'd be fun to watch.
At this point, I just hope it's Denver. I think I don't really like any of these teams in the West, and nobody is really like must-see TV for me in the West right now. So I'd probably say either Denver or Minnesota for Conley's sake. Yeah, if Conley could get a ring out of it, I would be happy.
Even though that means Gobert getting a ring, I would agree.
Listen, I've softened my stance on the Timberwolves all year because I hated Cat and I hated Gobert. Well, now I just hate Gobert, and I love Ant, and I will forever love Mike Conley. So
yeah, for sure.
And the other option is Oklahoma City. So pass.
Yeah, pass. Hard pass. Pass. We're going to pass to a different sport as we wrap up our show today. He's going to take himself off stage for this conversation because Uncle Buck does not want to talk about what happened this past weekend when my Mississippi State Bulldogs took 2 out of 3 from the Ole Miss Rebels heading into the last weekend of the season. Drew, it's the time of the year where all midweeks get canceled. We canceled our game last night or tonight with UNA.
You're scared. You're scared.
He canceled the game with UNA because whether you win or lose, your RPI goes down. And right now, State needs all the help we can get to stay in the conversation for postseason baseball. Drew, thankfully, again, we got a legendary pitching performance from Evan Sierra on Saturday. Just legendary, like under the lights, pitched his tail off, 15 strikeouts, just unbelievable effort. And Missouri got the monkey off their back by sweeping A&M, so they don't come into the final weekend of the season winless for Mississippi State to Mississippi State.
Yeah, it was very fortunate that Missouri is not going to Starkville 0-27, right?
They would leave 3-24, or 3-27, exactly what would happen.
Yeah, so listen, it kind of just goes as the whole season is going for the Rebs. If you bank on home runs to score runs, then on occasion you're going to get 2-hit shutout. Like it's just how it's going to be. Evan Sierra was amazing. I asked a coworker today who's a big Mississippi State baseball guy. I said, has he been doing that all year? And he's like, nah, he started in the midweek. He's kind of sucked. And I was like, well, that just sounds about right. You know?
But he has about 3 games a year where he looks like the next pro prospect, and it was just that one this weekend.
He was fantastic. He was fantastic. And Ole Miss, when you're swinging for the fences, you strike out a lot, and you don't drive pitch counts up. They never forced him out of the game. And then, you won game 1, you lost to Sierra in game 2, and then in game 3, you get down 6-1, and your bullpen does a good job keeping it there, and you get first and second, no outs, and you miss on 2 bunt attempts on balls outside of the strike zone, and the next pitch you grounded a double play, and it's over. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just execution. And I heard you say on the Daily Grind this morning, it's like, the long ball, you've got to have a complete baseball team. You've got to be able to play small ball at times, although I hate small ball, but at times you've got to be able to do it, to hit singles when you need to hit singles and to lay down a bunt whenever you need to lay down a bunt.
Situational baseball.
It didn't work. It was not going to work for us on Saturday's game.
You can take a victory lap, though. Your boy Tim Elko in his first career Major League at bat hits a home run for the Chicago White Sox. So it's cool to see, man.
It is. It was
as much as I hate Ole Miss, I like that story.
It was a second game. The first hit was a home run.
It was his first hit.
Listen, it's something that I haven't been able to experience because as an Ole Miss fan, you watch and you love these players, and then they go pro. And like with Eli Manning, he goes pro and he wins 2 Super Bowls, and you think back and it's like, what could have been at Ole Miss? And you look at player X, Y, and Z, and it's like, oh, he was on that team that could have been at Ole Miss.
A.J. Brown.
And for the first time, you look at Tim Elko, and it's just like, he got us one. There is nothing about Tim Elko that you could see in the pros and think back with a single bitter memory at Ole Miss. It's just the absolute best. And he is the best person. That is not coming from an Ole Miss fan. Rusty is a diehard State guy and an Ole Miss hater. I know you would agree with me. The best 100%. Dude ever.
High character, great guy, played an entire postseason on one leg. I hate Ole Miss, but he was easy to root for him with minus an ACL. It was minus an ACL going long. I hate Ole Miss more than I hate anything in this world, but it's hard to not root for a guy like Tim Elko. High character guy, great baseball player, and just gutsy. But that's going to do it for our Tuesday show. Come back with us on Thursday for more arguments, controversial takes, hot takes. We're going to talk deep dive on the playoffs a bit more. There's going to be some trade scenarios that involve the Memphis Grizzlies and what it looks like going forward. Guys, it's going to be an entertaining offseason if the last 24 hours tell us anything, not even 12 hours tell us anything.
If the NBA does anything well, it's creating year-around storylines.
100%.
It's the only sport that lasts for 12 months a year.
That's it. And if you're looking for an opportunity to get your company in front of a large target audience year-round, Bluff City Media is your location. The $2 Sports Show are going to be here with you all summer. Big changes coming over the summer for the $2 for Bluff City Media. We're super excited about what's coming down the pipe. But for today, there are no refunds for what you heard on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Have a good week. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.